Inspired by Love is a podcast hosted by Rachel Love, dedicated to promoting inspiration, hope, and giving a healthy dose of God's love for every aspect of life. Rachel is a seasoned inspirational enthusiast who uses witty commentary and biblical truths for real life solutions, offers business strategies, health and wealth tips, and self love care. Unlock the power tools to dig deeper, discover your untapped potential, and live your best extraordinary life. Here's your host, Rachel Love.
And welcome to Inspired by Love. I'm Rachel Love, and I'm happy to bring the next episode, our summer series. So you've been wondering, like, where has she been? We've been missing her. Well, baby, I am back in action, and I am ready to jump into this conversation with my dear friend, LaTonya Washington.
Hey, how are you? How are you? I am so glad to be here. I'm always excited, and you are doing so much for people. You are doing so much in the community. You are touching so many lives, lady.
Thank you, Lord.
And I want you to know that you are doing the work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, sis, I am once again happy that you said yes to come on the show and just help empower, educate, and stimulate the mindset of those that are maybe in business. Now we're in full swing of this pandemic or the panorama or whatever you want to put a label on it, whatever you want to call it. We're still in it. It's not over. It's not over. And as a businesswoman, there are some key things that we can take advantage of. So I kind of want you to elaborate. Tell us a little bit about your background for those that may be just tuning in today. And for those that are listening, I would love you to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Let's have the floor.
Take it away. As I always say on my show, it is now showtime.
It's showtime.
It's showtime. But my background initially was nursing. That's my background.
Mm-hmm.
And as I think I shared with you before, it's amazing how God does, because in that field, of course, you have to have a love for people. You have to have that compassion. You have to have that empathy. And then, of course, I then transitioned into business. Took courses at UCLA for public relations. Also went back to school for business administration, and became that entrepreneur because I wanted to step out into things that I love, all things business. And also then later became an associate professor at the college. And I teach social media marketing with that. And so I've been able to literally bridge the gap between entrepreneurship and academia, because you need to have the mindset of, okay, I have the ability to do what I'm purposed and called to do, along with allowing yourself to be educated. And both sides need to understand both aspects of it all.
Okay, wait, because you are just dishing up all the sauce. And I want people to actually grab their pen and paper so they can take note, because the title of this episode is Can't Get a Seat at the Table? Build Your Own. So with that, we are going to give you some significant nuggets to either enhance what you have or start. Because like I said, with this pandemic or panorama or whatever you want to call it, financially, people have been hit in the pockets.
That's right.
It has taken people by storm. People lost loved ones, friends, neighbors. So it's like, if we don't prepare ourselves, we just went through it, but there's more to come. There's more to come. So with that said, we want to know how to effectively navigate through this storm, through this path, through these bumps in the road. Because with God, he said we can do all things through Christ. Now, whoever is not with God, I'm saying you on the wrong team. Come on and get on the right team, because there's the secret things belong to the Lord.
That's
right? And he said he reveals his plans to those that he loves. And so I'm just in the beloved. You're in the beloved. There are people that are listening that are in the beloved. So basically, this message is for them. But there, it says in the word, he that have ears, let them hear.
That's right.
So I want them to hear something that will hopefully strike a chord to let them know you too can do something. It is not too late. You've been on your job a long time, a job that you may not like, may I add. Too many of us are exchanging hours for dollars and not getting a return. As a business owner, we always talk about the return on investment, ROI,
That's
right? So let's talk about some simple hacks to help an entrepreneur, a budding business, get started, get noticed, and stand out in the marketplace.
Okay. So first thing, and I always tell people, when you go into entrepreneurship, there are 3 levels to it as well.
Okay.
You have the people who are just getting into it, and that's considered to be the startup.
Okay.
Then you have people who have been in it for a little bit. They're in the growth stage. They're no longer startup. Now they're growing. They're seeing something happening. And then you have the next stage, which is called the scale stage.
Okay.
Your business is beginning to scale. And so you have those areas, and I always tell people, and ask yourself, evaluate which level are you in, because depending on that level that you are in, that is how you begin to put together different plans. You begin to put together the different objectives that we're going to be discussing as well. And then you know how to move, you know how to navigate, as you were saying, in regards to it all. And so those are key things that people really, really want to pay attention to. And so I would say the first thing when it comes to entrepreneurship, you have to ask yourself, is this something that I really, really want to do? Because it's going to require you to give up your time. It's going to require you to, give up your money initially, because it takes money to make money.
That part.
It takes money to make money.
Say it for the people in the back.
Hello. It takes money to make money. And then you have to be, of course, you have to be willing to do the work.
Yes.
And so what I would tell to people, you have to have a plan. And when I say that, first, in that plan, what's your goal?
What's your goal?
What's the goal? Do I have product? Do I have jewelry? Am I trying to get into the jewelry business? Am I trying to get into the product business, as we call it? There's a difference between you have a product and then or a service.
Yes.
And so you have to ask yourself, which area am I looking to get into? And the key thing is, especially when it comes to this thing called entrepreneurship, a lot of times your service really is your product, because it's all sales.
Hey, amen.
It's all sales. And so once you have that goal established, and don't just say my goal is to make money. All businesses want to make money. That's the ultimate goal, to make money. But you have to say, okay, that may be the ultimate goal. Maybe it could be more customers. But then you have to say, okay, in order for me to get to that level of scale, possibly, I have to have objectives. And so in the objectives, what are objectives? Objectives are the mini goals. So you have to, you have to pace yourself and say, this is the ultimate goal here when I'm in business for myself.
Yes.
But now I have to go back and say, okay, my objective is, it could be more visibility, because you can't sell anything. You can't become, we talk about brand awareness, all of those things.
Yes.
But you are fighting against millions and billions of people. And so one goal could be, okay, I have to become more visible on these social media platforms. Everybody doing business, I don't care what y'all say, they're on social media platforms. I'm telling everybody this because I teach social media marketing at the college level, and you'd be amazed at how many people are literally trying to get into the program, and they're degreed, and they're saying, I have to learn this thing. But
Yes.
you have to say, okay, in order for me to get to those levels, first thing I have to do, I have a goal. I have to create that plan. I have to develop objectives. You have to have benchmarks in those objectives. And I
Mhm.
tell people the SMART goals, like specific, SMART. That's what SMART goals are.
Mhm.
You have to be specific, basically saying, okay, I need to meet my whole goal. My specific goal is to touch women in the ages of 40 to 60. That's my
Mhm.
who have gone through divorce or are widowed.
Right.
That can be very specific. Then it has to be measurable. You
Mhm.
know, that's when you start looking at the percentages. I'm trying to reach a certain amount of people, 10% by, all those things. It has to be measurable. It has to be attainable. That means you can't say, okay, I'm trying to make $10 million next year. Well, you know what? Ask yourself, is that really achievable?
Realistically.
Maybe you need to say $1,000 in
Yes.
3 months. It has to be a technical. And then, of course, it has to be relevant. Is it
Relevant.
relevant to what it is that you're doing in the marketplace? Is it relevant to the people? And
Yes.
then it has to be time bound. You have to put a time on it. Say, I'm going to reach this in 3 months. And that's why you develop those little mini goals or benchmarks. And in the what we call them KPIs, key performance indicators.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
that's
Yes.
how you, right. And that's how you begin to go through the process of entrepreneurship or business ownership, putting yourself out in the marketplace. And that's part of your plan because you can't
Now,
do anything without it.
let me interject something right there
Yes.
because as yourself, I went through school. I
Yeah.
earned my MBA. I went back to school. I wanted to get, just to have a fallback because I
Yeah.
just didn't know. But when I reflect back on the education that I gained, they did not cover any of these things. I mean, specific, I
Just
had
glazed
some,
over it.
yeah, I had some knowledge. I'll just say it like that, but it wasn't in depth.
No.
So all the business information that I've learned have been on my own, and I
Yeah.
say within the last 5 to 10 years, I've
Yeah.
been able to understand and really understand marketing and
Yeah.
branding. So continue because this is really important. It's key things. I say the 5 hacks,
The 5 hacks.
to help a business grow and
Right.
understand your customer. You have to understand your relationship. You have to understand what problem are you solving.
What problem are you solving? What pains them? And the key thing is we all have something to give. And we
Yes.
call that the value proposition, but or your advantage points. And I
Mhm.
always tell people, sit back and evaluate. That's what do you bring to this table?
Exactly.
Go back and look at what advantages you have. You've been
Yes.
we don't love the word divorce, but it's an advantage point for some people. You know what? Maybe you went back to school and got your GED. You never went
Mhm.
to college. Well,
Mhm.
that's an advantage point for you because it's going to help other people that may be looking to go back, or then they don't have a college degree, but you can still step into entrepreneurship. So you have to
Exactly.
look at those things that you haven't really been paying attention to and write them down and say, this is my advantage. This is what I can bring to this table. And then
Yes.
you begin to mingle and mix it and say, okay, I can help people who transition to, maybe the college level at, at 60 years old.
Exactly.
So you bring something, you just have to take out the time to map it out and figure out what it is. And so when you do that, and I always tell people, don't start doing anything until you recognize what you bring to that table.
So you have to recognize your own strengths and talents that God has placed in you.
What God has placed in you and your life experiences.
Life experience. Come on now.
That's big. Because stuff happens, and it pains us. Stuff happens, but it's an experience that's going to help someone else who may feel, oh my God, I have no one here. No one's here for me. Who can I go to? Bingo. There's Rochelle. You know what? And so, and that's the part, that makes people feel more comfortable with you.
Okay.
Because they feel that once that's smart, you're relatable. And that's another reason why you have to be open and willing to share parts of you, being open and willing to share your story. You have to be able to reach people. People love a story. People want to hear what you went through. What did you deal with? And that's how you get that seat at that table.
Well, LaTonya, let me tell you, at the start of the pandemic in 2020, my job said, okay, we're shutting it down. We're all going to work from home. And, I was a contract worker at the time. So, contract, you have no leverage. And so I said, I had my own business. I've been working in my business, but I like to work project manager, do some other things. So I'm like sitting here like, okay, Lord, well, what am I supposed to be doing? And really, he opened up my eyes. But the first thing was for me to ask and then wait for the answer. So I sat for 6 weeks, and then he showed me the name and said, you're going to start your own podcast. And then I already had the resources. I knew who to go to. I knew how to get my graphics. I knew the songs. I mean, everything just fell into place.
Right.
It started with the plan. As you begin to elaborate on the 5 hacks and the smart information that you just gave to us, it's like it makes me go back and say, okay, I kept it real simple, inspired by love. Well, where did that come from? Well, it came from God, because 5 years ago, I had a sudden cardiac arrest and I died on my living room floor. And I'm here today as a result of my husband taking time to say, the Lord is saying, go check on my wife. And he went in there and found me and called 911 and did CPR. So that is something I will hold in my heart forever until I see him again in heaven.
That part right there.
But see, I know that I had something else to give.
Yeah.
It didn't just end 5 years ago. Life could have ended for me, and that would have been my story. But see, the Lord is saying, you have a story to continue and inspire others. And so he created a table. He said in Psalms, I set a table before you in the presence of your enemies. Okay? So I thank the Lord for creating the platform and allowing me to bring others such as yourself, who is an expert in your field, to help others, but not only just to help, but to inspire, to motivate, to stimulate. It's like that, they've been issuing stimulus checks, right? That stimulus only goes so far. So
it's going to stop.
We gotta be smart with the funds.
Better get ready, people.
Leverage, right? Leverage. So I took my funds, right? And I said, okay, let me take it another step. Let me get my corporate credit right. I've already been working on my personal credit. Let's get that corporate credit. Let's start building a corporation.
Right.
So I'm just so excited. Now talk about your masterclass that's coming up in September.
You know what? I know the International List Tour, it's been going on since I believe it was 2013. And I did it because, you have so many entrepreneurs that are looking for
Mhm.
mentorships, they're looking for
Mhm.
coaches, they're looking for directions
Yes.
on which way they need to go. And people come with different pain points as you
Mhm.
as we talk
Mhm.
about. And so basically for that, are we because of this pandemic, as we say, you have to know how to pivot
That
because
part.
this tour, and it was international, we've been to Africa as well.
Mm.
And so in the pivot, we were ready because now, as you see, we went virtual last year. We'll be
Yes.
virtual again, but we're turning them into master classes where people are able to go into the course, obtain or go into the class in which they need the most help in. It could
Okay.
be sales and marketing. It could be leadership. It could
Mhm.
be, of course, entrepreneurship, whether you're a entrepreneur, startup, even
Mhm.
writing. Because let me tell you something. When it comes to this thing called business, you
Yes.
have to know how to create content.
Yes.
It
Come
is
on
the
with the content.
content.
This is the content for
See,
me.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. It is the content that pulls people in. As I tell, it's that content that pulls people in. And so then you have to ask yourself, do you want your content to educate, inspire, or entertain?
Right.
Three levels. And so it's the content. And so sometimes people just need to know how to write content. And so, and that's a skill that can be developed. And so
Mhm.
that's happening in September. It's at the List Tour. And so I'm excited about it because right now we're gathering the right instructors that once again that are experts in their field,
Mhm.
and just to make sure people get what they need so they can know how to, you said the word for the day must be navigate, so they know
Navigate.
how to navigate. That's the word for the day. Navigate
Woo.
through life, because as we were saying, this pandemic ain't through with us.
Mm-mm.
It's
Facts.
coming up again. So you have to ask yourself, what am I going to do when the paychecks run out?
Right.
What am I going to do when it could be I don't have a job anymore?
Mhm. Mhm.
Are you positioning yourself in that place now to be ready for when it hits? Because I'm going to tell you what this pandemic did.
Come
It
on
opened
now.
up the gate. It opened up the gate. It made people say, "Oh my God, we're on Zoom. We're utilizing StreamYard. We're
Yes.
utilizing Be Live, all these other places because it allowed you to go global."
Yes.
So
Yes.
you can connect with people in Africa. You can connect with people in Australia.
Yes.
Okay, I feel a preach coming on.
Oh,
You can
girl,
connect
let
with
me get
people
my offering.
around the world. You can now connect with people around the world.
Yes.
And so don't look at, oh, woe is me, this pandemic, I don't know what to
Mm-mm.
do. Honey, you
Mm-mm.
better rejoice and say, thank you, Lord, for
Ooh,
giving
thank
me
you,
the
Lord.
ability to
Mm.
be creative and
Yes.
innovative and to use this platform to do what it is that He's called you to do. It just made you move. It should have made you move and should have made you think. Yeah.
Well, for people that are not woke, I am just encouraging you to
Yeah.
get woke,
Get
stay
woke.
woke. And if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready.
You
Am
don't
I
have to
right
get
or am I
ready.
right? Am I right?
You are
Am I
you
right?
you are right, honey. Because when opportunity knocks on that door, you better be open because there's somebody behind you waiting to take your spot.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And that's on everything. That's on period.
everything.
Mm,
Period.
mm. Well,
Period.
LaTonya, what have you been experiencing as an educator, as a
Okay.
professor in the classroom? Were you in the classroom or were you online with the students?
Online. We
Okay.
were online with the students this past year, but now it's one class that I'm teaching for kids that are for students that are transitioning as well into the college sector. So
Mhm.
I'll be doing that in the classroom. I'll still be teaching online what is called real time.
Okay.
So it'll be a class, but we'll be online. And that's the social media marketing course. But during the pandemic, it was all online.
All
And you can
online.
only imagine. And that's when you begin to
Ooh.
see what people really deal with.
Mhm.
We take things for granted. We take so many things for granted, as having Wi-Fi, as having a computer, as having time. A lot of people don't have it.
Mhm.
And so it's the little things you begin to recognize that we have taken for granted, that we can no longer take for granted, and say, Lord, I thank you for
Mhm.
giving me what you've given me. And I thank you, Lord, for the ability to create and to walk in my purpose.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, that's
Yeah.
rich. So walking in your purpose, that is something that has to be developed,
Yeah.
because you can be gifted in an area, but you're not refined. And that's
Absolutely.
where the Lord comes in and says, okay, daughter, you need to sit down, shut up, and listen.
Period.
Run that back up.
Sit
Run it.
down. That's the old folk would say, sit down.
Shut up and
Mm,
listen. A woman that I know that's very dear to me, that's her word. That is
yeah,
her word. She swears by it.
that's
So
right.
it's like I had to do that. I had to
Yeah,
just be quiet,
yeah,
settle down,
yeah.
shut out all the noise, turn off the computer, turn off the TV, turn off the radio. I mean, have no other interjections, no other voices in my head, so to speak. Just quiet the noise.
Yeah.
And then when I did all that, I was able to hear the Lord inside. My insides I began to rejoice. But then it was like I was allowing the presence of the Lord to come and just drop those nuggets. So I've been really taking a lot of notes. I'm
Yeah.
almost ready for my ebook to be released. And so probably right around September, we should be seeing,
Okay.
the first one come out,
Yeah.
but because I got a couple of them.
Yeah.
But I am excited because business is my baby. It's my baby. But I'm not so attached. I've been doing event planning for a long time, like 25 years. Long time.
Yeah.
I'm not new to it, I'm true to it. And so, what I want to do is become an expert
Yeah.
in the business, an
That's
expert
it.
at what I do, and let my work speak for themselves. Let the results speak for themselves. Okay? Because
That's
I can
real.
be about my bag, and they say, get out your feelings and get into your bag, baby. That's what's going on.
Get out your feelings, get
Yes.
out of your feelings. And it is so many things. And see, by you doing that, event production, event planning, see, that
Mhm.
wasn't by accident
Oh
either.
no, 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 no,
Because
no.
now you think about all of the event planners out there that were in, in space, having conferences. Well, now you have to be online. But guess what? There's still things that have to be put in order that they
Yes.
don't know about,
The
because now we've
administration.
transitioned. They
Yes.
don't have
Come
the
on.
checklist. They don't know what am
Yes.
I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do now? So a lot of them still need the checklist. A lot of them
Yes.
still need so much help. And then some people are going back into face-to-face
Mm-hmm.
contact, and they still don't
Mm-hmm.
know what to do. And
Oh.
so a lot of this stuff, it is not by accident that this is, you are an expert in that field. And now
Mm-hmm.
you've just also transitioned into something else as well.
Well, you
And
know
and
what?
that's what happens. Another door open.
By necessity, though. It was a necessity.
Life
There was a
experience
problem and I needed to solve it. But first I had to solve it for myself.
for
Huh?
yourself. For yourself.
I had to see that it works.
That's real
I
talk.
had to go to my bank account and say, okay, it was this and now it's this. Okay, this
That's
thing works.
it works. That's real.
So that's really all I really want to leave people with.
Yeah.
I don't want to overwhelm anyone,
Yeah.
but I do want them to start thinking, start getting creative. Let the creative juices
Right.
flow. Have a brainstorm session with yourself.
With yourself.
We talked about vision boards and we've done all kinds of things, but now it's time to get right. Get
Get
right or
right.
get left behind.
Because you're gonna get left. If you don't, enough of, like you said, enough of being in the feelings, enough of woe is me, all of that. We didn't took our time now to get the inner
Mhm.
peace,
Mhm.
inner peace. Now it's time to get to work. Don't start with
baby.
me. Don't start with me. But now it's time to get to work. Enough of that. Let it go. Now it's time to get to work and
Get to
surround
work.
yourself with people that are going to make you better,
That's
around people who are
fast.
going to challenge you and say, baby, okay, enough of that. It's time to move on. Because if you're not
Fast.
careful, life and your brain wants you to stay comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't make yourself push past those points, that's why I say
Yes.
objectives and benchmarks. If you don't make yourself push past those points, you'll be right back here 5 years from now and we've left you behind.
And see, part of business is being able to adapt.
Yep.
Adapt to the situation. We had to learn to adapt to our new normal. We got masks going on, we social distancing, the revolution is happening. It's like, come on now, people. This is not child's play.
No.
This is the real deal. This is life as it's happening. And unfortunately, things do happen in life, but we can be so resilient if we allow ourselves to be. Now, like you said, we can sit on the side and cry and say, woe is me, or God, why did you allow this to happen? And God is looking at you saying, well, I gave you all the tools. You're already equipped.
You are equipped to sit at the table. Come on. As I say, come on now.
Come on now.
Build yourself up and build yourself up. Develop those skills. Recognize what you have and say, "Oh, okay. I see what I got. I see what I got going on. Let me cultivate that thing right there.
Listen.
And package that thing and say, okay, this is what I do.
Listen.
And let me say this. Okay, go ahead, because I'm gonna say something right quick. Can I say something right quick?
Go.
And as you said it prior, you have to ask. You have to let people know what it is that you're bringing to this table. Don't just go on platforms. Go on these social media platforms. There are billions upon billions of people on these platforms. You can reach somebody, but you have to let people know what you bring. So sometimes, like you say, you got an ebook. Sometimes you got to say, I have an ebook. Please go and purchase my ebook on my site. Ask people, you got to tell folk what to do. One thing I learned in PR was, one thing I learned in public relations was people will go where they are led.
Yeah.
You got to lead them. No, but that's what you got to lead them.
Ooh, that's a word right there. Get your whole life on that word.
That one.
Woo.
That part. We can go all day if we, but we ain't got time. It's a lot to this thing.
Well, this is part one. This is definitely part one. I have a couple of people lined up that are going to help us sharpen our skills, sharpen our tools, be more intuitive, and just take time to develop our product and our service. Take time,
please do,
develop our brand identity. Take time to stand out in the crowd and get noticed. That's it in a nutshell. Because that is going to help you monetize whatever it is that you are selling, but be effective with all the tools.
That's right.
See, that was a part that I was missing. I was missing some tools. But now that I've gotten those tools, I sharpened my tools. I'm like, okay, we know how to come to the fight now. All right? You don't bring a knife to a gun fight.
Can't do it. It ain't gonna work.
Sis, let's go back to your 5 hacks. Okay, let's leave them with something. Let's leave them with those 5 hacks, because I know there are people that are listening and they're saying, well, what is it? What is it? What's the sauce? What's the gems? Give me this, give me the juice.
Okay. Right. And so, so we talked about visibility, right? That's part of your brand awareness. Mm-hmm. And so you have to be visible, you all. And that means once you realize what it is that you are bringing to the table, that product or that service that you are developing, you have to evaluate who are the people, of course, you're trying to reach, and you have to learn to speak their language. And when I say speak their language, if I'm talking to a mother with toddlers, I have to evaluate what really pains them. What are they looking for? Do they want to go out and shop on their own and they really have no one to help them along? You have to feel their pain. And so you have to know how to speak the language of that individual, because we're all emotional creatures.
That's right.
So that part is part of the content. Don't ask for nothing. Don't do anything, but that's part of content, and you want to begin to develop it. And when we talk about content and that visibility, you all, content is made up of the message, that's the words.
Okay.
It's made up of the images. It's made up of video, or it could even be an infographic. That's considered to be content that you're putting out in front on your platforms to the people that you're looking to connect to. And that's when you're looking to become more and more visible. So say, for instance, you're trying to gain the followers. You might have 500 followers and you want to get to 1,000. Well, you have to do certain things, and that's how you become more visible. And it's the content. And then the keywords, see, that's a whole nother, that's a subject matter by itself.
Okay,
but you have to use
keywords.
Words.
Come on.
Because it's the keywords that allows the algorithms. I know people have heard of this before.
My God, today.
That allows the algorithm to say, this is what the algorithm does.
Okay.
It says, they're saying something that everyone's asking about or talking about. So let me take that content and put it in the feeds.
Yes.
So more people can see this.
More people can see it.
Content is so vital to becoming more visible in the marketplace on these social media platforms. Now, even with that, Twitter. If you ain't on Twitter, get on Twitter. It's Twitter and Instagram that really, really deals with the hashtag. See, that's a whole nother subject matter. But I told you I could talk about this all day, because this is
we don't have a part two, so you can't give it all to
I ain't giving it all. I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna stop right there. But keywords and algorithms pick up on keywords, and I'm gonna tell y'all that right now.
All right.
And all platforms have different functions to them, but you gotta know.
Ooh. Yeah. My Lord, my God, today. You just really, what you did was help elevate and help individuals level up for the next move. The next move, so they can know, what's
yourself
my next
now.
move?
Yeah.
That part. If you're watching this podcast brought to you by Inspired by Love, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel Rachel Love on YouTube. But then also make a comment if any portion of the message was relatable to you, that you could relate to, or that you may have a question about. We want to know about it in the comments. So drop your comments below, and we will be back to answer the comments on the next episode of Inspired by Love. I want to thank my guest host, LaTonya Washington, as always, for just bringing us those shiny, tangible, and relevant jewels. Those were some gems that you dropped today, sis.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah,
I appreciate you. Thank you, and be blessed and be inspired by love. Bye now.
Thank you for tuning in to Inspired by Love. Join us every Wednesday for the juice to be inspired. Like, follow, and share this podcast. Be sure to leave a positive rating.